Our next presentation takes a deep dive into China's global project, the Belt and Road Initiative, specifically its digital footprint. Our speaker is Meia Nouwens, research fellow at IISS.
In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic has intensified global digitalization trends and exposed the disparities of access to the digital domain in regions and countries. Chinese tech national champions are filling gaps in digital connectivity around the world. But their investment in these technologies isn't new. Despite the hype about the Digital Silk Road, a subset of the Belt and Road Initiative, Chinese tech companies have been expanding globally for 2 decades. This has largely been driven by commercial interests. Expanding globally has become a matter of survival for some Chinese tech companies as China's domestic market saturated. Since the early 2000s, Chinese state-owned and private companies have invested in over 1,400 projects globally across 152 countries, including Antarctica. They started in the East and gradually expanded outwards. Companies like Huawei and ZTE focused initially on building network connectivity infrastructure. For example, 70% of non-fifth generation telecommunications projects occurred before 2016. Since then, Chinese companies have invested in newer types of infrastructure, with Chinese companies taking the opportunity to upgrade or expand on earlier projects. These could include, for example, 182 data centers worldwide and 166 5G projects. Beyond physical infrastructure, Chinese companies have also become world leaders in over-the-top services, giving Western tech giants a run for their money in markets new and old. Since 2016, investments by companies like Tencent and Alibaba have skyrocketed in areas of fintech and e-commerce, with 91% of projects located in the Middle East, Europe, and the Indo-Pacific region. These projects don't occur in isolation. E-commerce and fintech investments are aided by the explosion of Chinese data centers, reducing latency for consumers. Significantly, geopolitics has also gone digital, and security is being redefined to include tech. Heightened by the technological competition between the US and China, China's growing global tech presence has led to questions about the motives and impacts of Chinese global tech investments. Is the Digital Silk Road a socio-economic endeavor as stated by the Chinese government, or is it a natural extension of commercial interests as argued by China's private sector companies? Is China in fact seeking to rewire the world's digital ecosystem for its own strategic goals of becoming a technological and cyber superpower? These questions are difficult to answer but unavoidable, and answers should be informed by data. According to China Connect's data, while Chinese companies have rolled out at least 55 smart city projects globally, companies like Huawei, Megvii, and Hikvision have made around 3 times as many investments related to safe city projects. Many of these projects include surveillance technology components. But despite the talk of intensifying global tech alliances, the spillover of criticism of Chinese projects doesn't seem to have changed much on the ground yet. Out of 166 Chinese investments in 5G, only around 15% of projects have been officially halted or cancelled globally. The world of tech is becoming more diverse. So what does all this mean for global cyber norms, differing values, multiple regulatory policies, and of course, standards? Does controlling standards control the market? Or are we entering into an era where the proliferation of Chinese tech will de facto move us towards Chinese standards? The prospect of a splinternet, a bifurcation of the world's digital ecosystem, no longer seems an impossibility. But splitting connectivity according to ideological lines might do more harm than good. Exactly how we bridge the EU's GDPR, the US's Clean Networks Initiative, and China's global initiative on data security will be the challenge for years to come.